Hello, and welcome back to the diner for this edition of Burgers and Fries. So, this is going to be a fun topic that Greg here wanted to bring up. All right. Along us, we also have Pat and the man with the perfect face for radio, Tony. All right.
Hello.
So,
Hi.
that's right. Greg, why did you want to bring this subject up about meeting celebrities and the whole thing of quote unquote don't meet your heroes?
Well, I think there's like a good side and a bad side when you want to meet someone that's really famous, like a celebrity. One side, yeah, they can be decent and all, but then you got the other side where they hide like a fake smile and all that until you learn that they're a real asshole in real life.
Well, as I said in the nostalgia thing that I just released, I said just because they're talented doesn't necessarily mean that they're great people. A lot of talented people in the industry are horrible human beings in real life, but some of them are actually great human beings. It's hard to figure out which one is which. Would you guys agree there?
Yeah.
Yep.
Uh, all right. So, all right, I have met my fair share of them, usually at convention appearances. Um, some of them I've happened to meet by chance at work because they happened to come up to where I went. And then, of course, there's some bands that I also met too. So, Greg, okay, would you like to bring up one that you met?
Well, for a bunch of them, well, one of them being the nostalgia critic.
You met Nostalgia? That's pretty
That's
cool.
awesome.
Was it
And
awesome though?
yes,
Okay,
well, I
so
think
what was Doug Walker like?
he's all right.
Anything about the interaction that you had with him? Like, he sounds like the type of guy that would have a fun interaction with.
Well, there is one thing I did kind of ask him is, what movie would you like want to remake yourself? And well, he said that was a good question for him to ask. He said he wants to remake The Mask.
He wants to
You know,
remake The Mask with Jim Carrey.
the reason why he wants to remake that movie is because he wants to make it more like the comic book and all that.
What
Okay,
came,
that
came what came first, the movie or the cartoon of that series?
The
the
movie.
comic
Movie.
book.
I mean, comic book, yeah.
I thought about between the movie and the cartoon what came first, movie or cartoon.
The movie.
Okay.
There's been God, how many shows ended up as a kids cartoon that were based off Jim Carrey movies? There was a Dumb and Dumber cartoon, there was a Mask cartoon, there was an Ace Ventura cartoon.
I like
Yeah.
those.
I was just getting ready to say that.
Look, I'm gonna list off like some celebrities that I've met. All right, I got to meet Kirk Hammett at Metallica twice. He was doing a signing because he was a horror movie fan. Both times he was pretty chill. Norman Reedus from The Walking Dead. I got to meet him at a signing. I got to meet Kel Mitchell from all that in
Really?
Nickelodeon. Oh yes,
How was
he
that?
he was very cool. I did get to tell him, and I told him, "Hey man, thank you so much for the laughs. Thank you so much for all those years." Very
Did-
sentimental.
Did you take him for orange soda?
Well, here's the thing about that. First, he fist pumped me for saying thank you. But while a lot of people were waiting in line, a lot of people were like, hey Kel, do the orange soda line, and he did. He's at a convention signing. He was fine doing it. I'm sure he gets annoyed as shit if people do it to him on the streets.
I'm sure.
Um, I met the creators of Avatar: The Last Airbender, Legend of Korra. Got to meet the Game of Thrones cast back when they were at the height of it. Because I was dressed up as Casey Jones, and I remember the guy who played Jaime Lannister asking about my costume and why I was carrying around a golf bag full of stuff. Here's the thing about that is I met because of the Game of Thrones cast, and then there was a Hunger Games thing that they did the next year. I got to meet Gwendolyn Christie twice. The first time. Now, do you know who Gwendolyn Christie plays in Game of Thrones, guys?
No, I don't watch that show.
It's okay. Gwendolyn Christie in Game of Thrones was Brienne Tarth. So she's also a very tall woman. In Game of Thrones, she looks very plain because she's basically a warrior knight. So when I saw her at the signing, I didn't recognize her because in the show she has short hair, but she grew her hair back out and was wearing lipstick. And she looked very much like a lady when she did the signing, and I couldn't recognize her at first. And then the next year, she was doing something for Hunger Games. And I remember mentioning to her, hey, I met you at Game of Thrones, and now you're in everything. You're in Hunger Games. You're in Star Wars, because she was Captain Phasma, the Chrome Stormtrooper.
Oh, her.
That's
Now
her.
I know who you're talking about.
Okay. And she was cool. She was like, yeah, I've just been very fortunate. And I told her, well, either way, happy to meet you again, and either way, you kick ass. And she was happy hearing that. Now, in terms of the creator of the Ninja Turtles, I did meet Kevin Eastman twice too. The
Very
first
cool.
time, because I'm wearing Casey Jones, and my ex is April O'Neil. We went to where he was signing, and he actually paused his signing to get up and take a picture with the group of us all wearing Ninja Turtles costumes, and he didn't have to do that. And then we actually did a signing with him the next day, and he actually recognized, oh wait, you were April yesterday, you were Casey yesterday. So he was 100% one of the nicest guys to talk to. But so we caught Shia LaBeouf, and he's just in a circle signing autographs for people, and he's unannounced. He just happens to be there. And my
Let me
ex,
guess, he was an asshole. Let me guess.
well, hold on, let me get there. My ex basically noticed him, but she let a bunch of kids in front of him to try to let him get his autograph because he's Transformers and all that bullshit. So, but she made the mistake of probably doing it too much, because then eventually Shia, just without saying anything, he doesn't say anything like, sorry folks, I'm done, or anything like that. He just gets up and walks through, and he just kind of storms through without looking at anybody. I remember he made eye contact with me for a second, and everybody who left was just kind of like, what the fuck?
He was probably pissed off or something.
And then I did see Walter Jones. He's at every convention. So if you happen to go to Comic-Con or San Diego, he's basically going to always be there. Jason David Frank, I mentioned meeting him in the podcast that we did about Jason David Frank.
May he rest in peace.
May he rest in peace. Here is definitely one that you would definitely like hearing about, Stan Lee.
How was that meeting him?
So we signed up, and now this is 2015. We paid $100 to get a picture with him. And
Wow.
yeah. But it's Stan Lee, and he was getting old. So you didn't know how many more convention appearances he was going to do. And so we thought, okay, for Stan Lee, sure, we'll pay this much for it. So whoever was running the signing, or was running the actual thing, because of course this is San Diego Comic-Con, there's a shit ton of people trying to do the same thing that my ex and I were trying to do. They were just ushering people in and out of the line like crazy. So we really didn't get a chance to really talk to Stan Lee. Maybe he shook his hand or whatever, but before he even had the chance to say anything to us, or do anything else that we wanted to do, the people just kind of ushered us out. And I remember looking at Stan Lee's face, and he just like going, why? Why were you rushing him out? Like, he actually wanted to talk to everybody, but the people that managed his picture taking were like, no, we got to get everybody in and out of here. But hey, I did get to see him in person.
Here's a question I do want to ask you. I heard Brie Larson's a stuck-up bitch, which surprised me because I liked her as a singer in 2005. But
I like her as Captain Marvel.
what the heck? I don't understand everything. Why?
She actually, in one of the links that I sent you, was listed as people that refuse to sign autographs. So she was listed among there.
Oh.
And again, this is just what's been said on the internet. So, if it's said on the internet, it must be true, right?
Well, it can't. Well, she doesn't sound as bad as Ariana Grande. It doesn't sound as bad as her.
That's true. And of course, people will often list the Ariana Grande licking donuts in the donut shop incident as one of the things
you
mentioned
in your Kids About 27 review that you didn't like her because she's rude to her fans and everyone around her.
Yes, because of shit like that.
What else did she do aside from that licking donuts thing and hating?
There have been stories of that this has popped up on multiple things where maybe they're just copying and pasting each other. I don't know. But this has popped up, and they said how she was at a meet and greet, and then before she left the meet and greet, she could be heard visibly saying, "I hope these people all effing die."
Why did you say that? She should be thankful
I
she has fans.
don't fucking know. I have no fucking idea how that happened. And again, it's he said, she said. So maybe people have met Ariana in real life and she was super nice to her. I don't know. But
it doesn't surprise me, BB. It doesn't surprise me because, a lot of those celebrities are jerks anyway. Like Justin Bieber. Look at Justin Bieber. Look what he turned into.
Okay, but when you're the biggest fucking star on the planet and everybody approaches you in public, wouldn't you get tired of it?
Yeah, I would, but I wouldn't treat my fans like crap.
But even he has said, look, people forget the fact that I'm a human being and that he, tries to maintain his privacy as much as he can. In his defense, like he says, look, I'm not always in the mood to do a picture or a selfie or whatever because he might be busy. He might be doing something. Like, imagine if you were a celebrity and you're with your family eating dinner and you have people bombarding you with requests to take a picture. Would you want to take a picture? So, Greg, any other people that you would like to mention that you've met, good or bad?
Well, another good one I can think about is me and the voice actress Belle.
And how was she?
She's really nice.
Paige O'Hara.
There you go.
I took a picture with her and sent a hello video to a friend of mine.
Now, did you pay to see her?
Yeah.
Okay, how much?
About 10.
Oh, that's nothing. Like, I mentioned how we had paid $100 for Stan Lee. I remember for like Jason David Frank, it was $40 to $50 for a picture, but he also signed my action figure as well. So I think it was $50 for whatever he wanted. A lot of them make a living on convention appearances. Like, that is how they survive now, is income from fans paying to see them. So can we really blame some of the prices for these celebrities? Yes or no?
No.
No. Tony, would
No.
you... Okay, you wouldn't agree. You don't blame them for one bit.
No, because like they gotta make a living somehow. I mean, I don't blame them at all.
Pat, anybody that you have met?
Yes. Firstly, I met Steve Tyrell, a lesser-known crooner. And then I met Frank Sinatra Jr. months before he passed away. And then at BronyCon, I met the supporting cast of My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic, Kathy Westluck, Maddie Peters, the voice of Scootaloo, Michelle Krieber, the voice of Apple Bloom, Brian Drummond, who does Filthy Rich, and
Brian Drummond. You met Brian
Steve.
Drummond. He was Vegeta in one of the Dragon Ball Z dubs.
And he was the first English voice actor Sonic the Hedgehog.
That's pretty cool. You
Yes.
got to meet him.
And I met Kelly Sheridan, the voice of Starlight Glimmer. It was the best day of my life, best weekend of my life, I should say. Although I guess I'm kind of glad now, looking back on Tara Strong now, I'm guessing I'm kind of glad that I didn't get to meet her.
Well, because of something that she said 6 years later. Like, who would have thought?
I mean, there's still a part of me that wants to meet her, because I kind of deep down still have a crush on her.
If you can separate the artist from the art and separate the person from what they do, that's fine. You're allowed to meet and look up to whoever you want to look up to.
Although she's probably married and have kids, but I still like her as a voice actress.
And that's fair to say.
She's divorced, right?
Oh.
Okay. Someone, send her to my apartment.
No problem. But like I said, how did you end up doing the signing? Like, did you just line up for it? Did you win a drawing? Like a raffle drawing?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, not a raffle drawing, but yeah, I was in line with my Brony friends that I met at BronyCon, and I was just fortunate to, be in line to get an autograph from these actors.
You also mentioned, Greg, that you wanted to talk just basically about, the whole quote, "Don't meet your heroes" type of a thing. So, are there any people that you're hearing about that you're like, oh man, I definitely don't want to meet them now?
I would say I'm glad I didn't meet Will Smith or anything.
Why?
With everything that's going on with him now, like this, like you can clearly tell the dude was just out of his mind when the Chris Rock incident slapped. Keep my wife's name out of your fucking mouth. You two weren't even together. What the fuck were you doing?
So why was Jada Pinkett Smith at the Oscars with him then?
Appearance-wise, publicity, I don't know. But honestly, despite all that, I still think Will Smith sounds like a cool guy to meet. I've seen videos of him where he pretended to stay in character as the genie to a couple of young fans that were at the premiere.
That is a disrespect to Robin Williams, in my opinion.
No, he's in character because these girls are attending the premiere where he's the genie. Why would that be a disrespect to Robin Williams?
I don't know. I guess I just have some personal beef with him when he decided to play the genie in the Aladdin remake. I personally just like it when Robin Williams did it better.
Yes, he did. Okay, but you gotta see the context of what I'm saying. Like, these girls came to see Will Smith. Okay, they didn't come to see Robin Williams. And Will Smith made their day by pretending to still be in character. So, say what you will about Will Smith and his cucking, all right, but maybe he still is a chill dude. Who really knows? Anybody else you guys say, oh man, I definitely don't want to meet them now. I don't like these people.
Mark Hamill.
Why? What's wrong with Mark Hamill?
Yeah,
Well,
I'm
sure,
curious.
Sure, he's somehow good as Luke Skywalker and the Joker.
You don't want to meet him because of his political beliefs. Okay. Is that basically what you're saying?
Yes.
If you met celebrities that strictly went in line with your political beliefs, the list would be almost down to zero, unless it's Kevin Sorbo. So they can say whatever the hell they want. I'll still gladly meet them and talk to them about Star Wars, which apparently he does. Now, in one of the links that I showed you guys, all right. So he was caught at a Star Wars premiere, and people were giving him shit because he wasn't signing autographs, and he has said, if I could know that it's a fan and not a dealer, I'd sign all night. He told Twitter he's tired of seeing what he signs on eBay within hours. Now, he'll happily sign whatever you like if you do happen to meet him in person, but in 2017, I was told that you had to pay nearly $300 to see him or to get a signing from him. $300 fucking dollars.
That is way too expensive.
Way too
Indeed.
fucking expensive. All right, and a lot of people have said, look, no average fan can afford that absurd amount. For someone who touts himself as super fan oriented, I could see why that would frustrate a lot of people. So you asked about Brie Larson earlier. All right. There's at least one thing she really doesn't do much, and that's sign autographs for her fans. This is an article on Looper, by the way. We learned of her dislike of the practice in 2015 after a disappointing fan encounter with a gentleman who relayed his story on the internet. Oh, wait a minute. There we go. It's said on the internet, so it must be true. Larson was making an appearance at the Toronto Film Festival when a fan went looking for an autograph, only to be told by the star, sorry, I don't do that anymore. Despite her insistence that she wouldn't provide a signature for him, Larson did happily agree to a selfie, even throwing her arm around the adoring fan and sporting a wild smile. So that doesn't sound to me like a bitch.
No,
She's
right.
basically saying, okay, she refused the autograph, but was fine doing a selfie. And there's actually lots of celebrities that are like that. Bryan Cranston has said he doesn't want to do autographs, but he'll gladly do a selfie with you.
I guess it makes sense.
There's lots of celebrities. It really just depends on who you meet. Some of them are totally cool with taking pictures, doing a digital memento. Others are totally against selfies and autographs, and they'd honestly rather talk to you. They'll ask you, hey, so where are you from? What do you do? Blah, blah, blah. Like James Hetfield of Metallica has been upfront, and he said he doesn't want to do selfies. But there's also guys that are totally honest about it. Like Brock Lesnar, he has been very upfront, and he said he just doesn't like people, period. Bottom line, we get that they're human, and we get that when they get approached as much as they get approached, they're not always in the mood for a signing or a picture. I would especially hate it if I'm eating dinner with my children and somebody harasses me for a picture. I would absolutely hate it.
I see what you mean.
Now, the other thing is, okay, let me just ask you this question, okay? Do these celebrities owe you a picture or an autograph?
No.
Because of things that they did?
No.
Greg or Pat?
No.
I do have to mention, because I'm a WWE fan, all right? And it's been known that a lot of wrestlers get really frustrated with fans who basically track their flights. They find out, okay, is so and so on this flight? So they've tracked their flights to find out when they arrive. And these wrestlers it's 2 to 3 o'clock in the morning. They're fucking tired after a show and they have to get to the hotel. And then they get approached by people with a book of things for them to sign or a huge collection of action figures to sign.
Oh,
Wouldn't you hate that?
yes.
I personally don't blame them when even top WWE stars have said, I'm not doing that anymore. Like, don't approach me at an airport. If I'm at a signing that I'm announced, absolutely. If I'm in a chance encounter or whatever, or if I'm at the show that I'm announced to be on, that's different. But a lot of them, you can look it up, have just expressed absolute frustration with what they think is stalking with people harassing them in airports or hotels.
And when you brought up something like that, someone kind of told me that, well, the reason why Michael Jackson, when he was still alive, the reason why he never performed in Minnesota anymore was because, well, I think it was during his tour around 1989 or something, when he was in Minneapolis. He was at a mall and people wanted a piece of him. I'm not talking about like picture wise, but more like shirt, his hair, you name it.
Oh, good God, that's terrible. Yeah, and a lot of them will have that approach of, well, if I sign one autograph per person, then I have to sign it for everybody that's in there. So, like, you mentioned William Shatner earlier. Like, William Shatner is basically, he said, like, I'm not going to do autographs anymore out in public. You know, they're happy. He's happy to do them at conventions. So that's your only chance to talk about Rescue 911 with him, if you get a chance to talk to him.
Oh yeah, I would love that because like I actually saw a comment that when a fans of him said that he watched him in Rescue 911, that it made him feel very happy that people recognized him other than just from Star Trek. I think that's why he's kind of an ass because he's tired of people only recognizing him from Star Trek.
I have read many places that they'll pay a lot to see him, but he doesn't even look at them. He doesn't interact with them. He just signs it, moves on. And then it could be also, like I said, it could be the manager, clicking how many autographs that he's signing, trying to get as many autographs in and out of there as they can, because obviously, usually it's this management company that pays this person to do the signing. All right. So they've already paid this actor to do the signing and they're trying to make the money back by getting as many autographs as they can. But, maybe if you do see William Shatner by any chance, just don't ask him for an autograph or just don't ask him for a selfie, and maybe he might be fine with it.
How old is he now? He's got to be in his 90s, I think.
He's 91, I think.
Wow. Impressive.
So I wouldn't expect him to be much out in public anyway at his age.
Yeah, definitely.
I've given you links for you to check out. Like, is there anybody that you're seeing in those links that you're like, really? Him? Her?
Jared Leto, Tobey Maguire, Michael Jordan, Christian Bale, Sandra Bullock, Demi Lovato, Chevy Chase.
On which one of them are you looking up?
I'm looking up the top 10 rudest celebrities on Google right now, and I see some of them that I'm a huge fan of, and it says here they're listed as being the rudest celebrities.
Right.
Sounds
so yeah,
like...
it surprises you, right?
It does.
Yeah. Even Ellen DeGeneres.
I've heard she's awful to people who work for her.
Really? Same with Oprah Winfrey. I heard Oprah Winfrey's a big bitch to people she works with.
There was a story about Rihanna that somebody tried to post something about, like, they were posting a costume about Rihanna, like, hey, look at this Rihanna costume that I did. So she posted online, and Rihanna sees it, and Rihanna ends up humiliating the person who made the costume, even though it was supposed to be a tribute to her. She cyberbullied a fan.
Oh,
like this one. Remember how you mentioned Cuba Gooding Jr. It says here in this article from Tuco that he had in 2012 he had an arrest warrant after he reportedly pushed a bartender to the wall. The bartender told the police that Cuba Gooding had walked in alongside a group of people and got irritated when the other guests recognized him and asked to take photos. The bartender then approached Gooding, asked him to calm down, which at that point he pushed the bartender away.
Oh no. Patrick Stewart's rude.
He's probably tired of a lot of people going, "Hey, it's Picard." And it's really it always just depends on how people act when they approach a celebrity. Like if somebody goes up to Patrick Stewart and goes, "Hey, Patrick Stewart, what the fuck, man? I'm such a fucking big fan, you know. Hey, can I get a picture?" And maybe Patrick is, he probably sounds annoyed. But if you went up to them and say, "Hey, excuse me, Mr. Stewart, hey, I'm a big fan. Thank you for what you do." And maybe if he's nice back, then you can ask him for an autograph or whatever. But you don't just immediately go, "Hey, CM Punk, can I get a picture?" As CM Punk has talked about.
Mike Myers.
Now that surprises me.
How is he rude?
Well, there was one saying that when someone met at a bar one time, he said, "Hey, let me buy you a drink," and Mike Myers said, "Oh, save that for my movies."
The fuck?
I mean, I know I shouldn't laugh, but that's hilarious.
Then again, you have Kanye West. He once told a fan in a wheelchair to stand up.
I hate that guy. I really
No, he fucking stopped the show, and because he was mad that not everybody in the audience was standing up, he was like, "I'm not going to continue this song till everybody stands up. I can't do this song. I can't do the rest of the show, so everybody stands up." It was somebody in a wheelchair.
Okay. I know I should not be
up.
I should not be laughing at that, but what has gone for that guy's head?
It's funny because it's stupid.
Yeah, that is so fucked up.
Okay, Avril Lavigne, there was people that paid $400 to do a meet and greet, and this is pre-COVID, but the singer wouldn't let them get any further than like 3 feet from her. So there's these awkward photos. I'm actually going to share one of them in the chat right here. Get ready to laugh. All right, so there's awkward photos that are circulating around, and this is what people paid $400 for.
So she's a bitch in real life, is what you're saying.
Maybe she was just like, "Look, I don't want to be hugged. I don't want to be high-fived." She obviously might have had some concerns about safety, and again, she's a woman, and there's a lot of guys, and she probably is getting creeped out by a lot of guys that might act creepy. But imagine, $400 spent, and that's the kind of picture that you get, or you get very little interaction with her, if at all. Like that would be fucking stupid.
I can't tell if that's a smile.
It's right. It really is tough to tell.
Looks like he's just constipated or something.
Yes.
Right. I know who you're talking about right there. I didn't really like her.
That's right. Tobey Maguire often is listed on actors who are rude to fans. Like he's popped up multiple times.
He's rude, you mean?
Yeah, Chevy Chase pops up multiple times. Russell Crowe pops up multiple times. Justin Bieber often does show up multiple times.
Oh yeah, we know that.
Michael Jordan usually shows up multiple times.
Wait,
right?
Michael Jordan's an asshole? That was surprising. I was a huge fan of him when I was a kid.
It usually just depends on the context, but there's been stories that have come around, how he was an asshole to his teammates, but he won 6 championships, so what he did worked.
What about Shaquille O'Neal? Was he an asshole?
Maybe, but Shaquille O'Neal sounds like the kind of guy that would be really chill to meet. But again, I guess it just depends on the circumstance.
I mean, Shaquille O'Neal I just find to be an egotist.
I think he's hilarious. I don't care what people say. Same with Dennis Rodman. I think they're just fucking hilarious.
I like Dennis Rodman's hairstyles. That was fun.
Right.
He had a smile face on his hair. That was cool.
And I can put it this way: you could put Taylor Swift for being the rudest person on the planet.
Yeah, but there's also lots of stories that circle around where she's absolutely adorable to her fans. So I think it really just depends on the context.
Well, one of the ones I kind of been reading about the ones that met her during high school and all that.
But this is before she became Taylor Swift. Okay, we're talking about how they're rude to fans, and right. I haven't really heard many stories about Taylor Swift being rude to her fans.
Except that she complains about her exes in song all the time.
But how is that rude to her
It's
fans?
not.
Thank you.
And Will Ferrell.
Well, people say that Will Ferrell comes off as rude. He tries to do some funny remarks and he ends up coming off as rude.
Well, he's not
Like
rude.
Steve,
rude.
like
he just.
Steve Martin, instead of giving any fans autographs, would just hand people a card that said, "This card certifies that I have met Steve Martin and he was, funny and engaging." And then Jonah Hill copied Steve Martin for a while, and he said, or the card said, "I met Jonah Hill and it was a letdown." So, anyway, all right, I'm going to end this one by sharing just a story that I did, and this happened to me at work. And because I do astrophotography, and because my work will share the astrophotography, BJ Novak from The Office followed me on Twitter, which was pretty cool. And I recognized him when he came into my work one day, and I noticed, "Hey, you look familiar." And he said, "Yeah, I'm an actor." And I said, "No, but you actually follow me on Twitter." And then when I showed him who I was, like, "Oh yeah, I like your pictures. They're awesome. Love what you guys do." And then mentioned to me that he had Mindy Kaling with them, with her 4-year-old daughter. So say what the fuck you want to say about Mindy Kaling and her work on Velma, but she was nothing but nice to me. Like, I can't say anything bad to her as a person. Just she and BJ were really cool to me. So that's one story that I'm going to end with. So thank you for this discussion about meeting celebrities, all right? But the diner is now closed, all right? Time for you to pack up your shit and get out of here. I'm Desert Coyote 22. Thanks for listening. So in Game of Thrones, sorry, now I'm burping. Thanks a lot, Tony.
You're welcome.
Game of Thrones.
That's right.
Burp of Thrones.
Sorry. That's right. Burp of Thrones. Bloopers that I'm going to cut out. So, for when Gwendolyn.
Excuse me.
Oh, never mind. We still have some more burps to get out.
Okay, I'm good now.
Maybe I should keep this as a blooper at the end. Okay. Okay, if you're not going to talk, Tony, fucking mute yourself. Fucking mute yourself so I don't hear you putting your beer bottle down.
How'd you know that's what I was doing?
I can hear everything, dude.
Well, I am kind of talking.
No, you're not.
Kind of.
Okay.
When we get there.
I think I remember paying 40 to 50. Tony, fucking mute yourself, dude.
Tony,
Jesus Christ.
Keep talking.
Tony, are you choking on your dick or something?
No, I was clearing my throat.
Well, clearing your throat, opening beer bottles or whatever. I can hear everything.
All right.
Okay, if you're gonna talk, that's fine, but you're not talking when Greg is talking.
All right, I'll mute myself then.
Thank you. So see, Pat's being considerate. How come you're not being considerate? Thank you, Tony. All right. Now, we mentioned I'm gonna start that over again. Like, I'm sorry, it does get annoying, right, Greg?
Yes.
Okay.